Our next case is fake baby, fake death, and all because this woman supposedly wanted attention. Very bizarre case. This is out of Nashville, Tennessee, and police there say that a local woman made up a pregnancy, and then she made up a story about the baby being murdered, all because she wanted attention. And police are saying that the entire thing is a hoax. This is the case of 32-year-old Glenna Pinkerton of Donelson, Tennessee. She has been charged with filing a false police report, which is a felony. Where do we begin with this one, Alison?
I mean, first of all, I started this by saying this is the day of mentally ill female defendants. I mean, think of how much attention she wanted. That was her explanation for why she did it. Although I want to get into that in a minute, but some of the details. So she goes so far in this deranged story that she takes the police to a place where she says she has buried her daughter in a shallow grave. It is as disturbing and really, I mean, think about the time that was wasted with police resources, which is really secondary to how sick this story is. So let's unravel who she says did it. She says that it was her ex-boyfriend. So she essentially pins a murder on him, a murder of an infant child on him, says her only role was to bury the child. But why is she pinning it on him? And, you know, you and I have dealt with really kind of sick, twisted cases where people are attention seeking or they're seeking revenge. She was willing to say that he did it. If he gets arrested and charged with it, he's spending the rest of his life in prison. So I was trying to figure out, is this a revenge for something? Did he break up with her? Why does she pin him? What was the cause of their breakup? Clearly, something was not right with her. Maybe he picked up on that.
There are a few things there, Alison. What's interesting is how police became aware of this. It was a relative who contacted police. It was her own brother. On March 6th, Glenna's own brother told the police that he was worried because his sister was making some really disturbing statements and telling these stories that didn't make any sense to him. Ronald Pinkerton said that she was talking about having had this baby and having buried the baby. So what was troubling is that the brother, who presumably would be the uncle of this 1-year-old girl, never knew her to be pregnant. They were close enough where he would know whether she was pregnant, and he for sure knew that he was not an uncle. So he was so concerned
he called the police.
Police. And of course, police take this seriously.
Of course.
So they go to Glenna, the woman, the alleged mom, I'll call her here. And she verifies to police. She says, oh, yes, this is true. This has all happened. And she said that she had buried her daughter in Nashville at a place called Two Rivers Park. And so she takes police to the area, which you described, and they brought canine and cadaver dogs with them, and they searched the whole area trying to find the body. She additionally explains that the baby was killed in some kind of a shooting or an altercation, and that she was shot in the head. And that, as you said, the ex-boyfriend and presumably the father of this non-existent child, is the one who killed her. So she also tells the cops that this incident happened 2 years ago in 2018. So the cops search, they find nothing. So they say, all right, something's not right here. They go back to Glenna again for another interview after the search. And that's when she finally admits that she made the entire thing up. She never gave birth. There was no baby. There was no shooting. There is no dead corpse. There's no corpse. There's nothing. And when the police asked her why she did this, why she made up this story, she said, quote, attention, I guess.
All right. So Anna, let me tell you when she gets into legal hot water. Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's say that somebody tells a story, a lie to family members or friends, right? So we've heard of stories how people say, you know, I'm sick when I'm really not sick. Okay. It's when they start asking for money because they're sick. Can you please fund that? That there's some level of fraud. Okay. But let's just say that she tells this twisted story to her brother. Okay. There's really no crime. I mean, because he's not law enforcement. It's strange, and she needs to get mental help for any kind of mental delusions that she may be having if she truly believes it, but it's not a crime. When it becomes a crime is when the police ask her about it. She then confirms the story, keeps it going. So now she's making a false police report to the police. So that's when it becomes a crime. So if she would have said, you know what, I made that story up. I was trying to get attention. My boyfriend had broken up with me. I was at a low point in my life. I wanted people to feel badly for me. It's really not a crime. It's when she continued the lie and the police were questioning her about it and she gives them those false statements. That's when she starts to commit a crime. Now, filing a false police report here is a felony. You can get between 2 and 12 years. And I'm going to tell you why, if convicted, she is going to get more than the minimum 2 years. She actually has a fairly lengthy criminal history. So in 2012, she's convicted of drug charges and she gets 6 months in custody. In 2013, she is convicted of burglary charges, where she's the getaway driver, and it's stemming from a residential robbery, which is a very serious charge. And even though she pleads guilty just to the burglary charges, she gets 2 years in prison for it. Then there's another incident where there's a domestic assault causing great bodily injury. And at that incident, she actually makes death threats to the police.
Oh,
so
boy.
So she has a fairly extensive criminal history. And I think it's going to come into play. And when the judge is deciding what to do, and let's remember, this is not just making a false statement to the police. The time and resources and energy that she had them exhaust, taking away from time that should have been spent solving real crimes and dealing with real victims, they're going to punish her for that without question.